Important notice, this content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult a licensed doctor before starting, changing, or stopping any supplementation.
You're at the pharmacy, holding that bottle of vitamins your doctor prescribed, believing you finally found something to improve your health. After all, at 65, 70 years old, everyone says you need supplements to give you more energy and vitality. You get home and take them religiously every day, just as the doctor said. But then, a few weeks later, you start noticing something isn't right. That feeling of restlessness you didn't have before begins to show up. Your heart suddenly races for no apparent reason while you're watching TV. You wake up in the middle of the night with a strange sensation like something bad is about to happen, but you can't pinpoint what. During the day, you feel more agitated, more irritated by things that never bothered you before. When you go to the supermarket, you get an inexplicable urge to run out. And the worst part is, no one told you this could be related to those vitamins you've been taking so faithfully every day. What I'm going to tell you today might completely change the way you view supplements in older age. In some cases, there's a very specific link between two extremely common vitamins and increased anxiety in older adults, a point that's often overlooked during medical appointments. This doesn't mean these vitamins are bad or that you should stop taking them without medical advice, but there's a specific understanding about how they can affect your nervous system in ways you might never have imagined. I'll explain exactly which two vitamins these are, why they might, in certain cases, cause or worsen your anxiety, and most importantly, what you can do to keep taking care of your health without sacrificing your mental peace, always in conversation with your doctor. The first vitamin that might be linked to this discomfort, depending on dosage and timing, is vitamin B12, especially when taken in very high doses or at certain times of the day. I know this might sound contradictory because everyone says B12 is essential for brain function, memory, and energy. And it is. But here's the part almost no one explains. In some people, vitamin B12 can have a stimulating effect on the central nervous system, similar to drinking a strong cup of coffee. For a younger body, this might be beneficial, giving you extra energy. But for a more mature nervous system, especially if you already have a tendency toward anxiety or your sleep has changed with age, this stimulation can contribute to agitation, restlessness, and even worsen anxiety symptoms. What happens is that as the years go by, our nervous system tends to become more sensitive to stimuli. It's like an amplifier that was set to volume 5 when you were 30 and is now at volume 8. Any extra stimulation can trigger a stronger response. When you take B12, especially sublingual or injectable forms that are quickly absorbed, your brain gets an energy boost that your body might interpret as an alert signal. Your system doesn't easily distinguish between the energy from the vitamin and the energy it would naturally produce during a stressful situation. The result is that some people may start feeling anxious, restless, with a racing heart as if they're in danger, even while sitting calmly in their favorite armchair. Before I continue, I want to ask you an honest question. Have you ever started taking a supplement thinking it would improve your life, only to feel more nervous, more agitated, without understanding why? Tell me this. Have you ever stayed awake at night after starting a new vitamin, thinking it was just a coincidence? Write, "Vitamin made me restless" in the comments if this has ever happened to you. Because when you share your experience, you help others realize they're not alone, and that there might be a plausible explanation for what they're feeling. The second vitamin that in certain situations might contribute to worsening anxiety is vitamin D, but not in the way you think. Everyone knows vitamin D is important for bones, the immune system, and mood. The sensitive point isn't vitamin D itself, but rather how it's sometimes prescribed and taken. Often, very high doses are recommended to quickly correct the deficiency, especially in older adults. These high doses, such as weekly or aggressive daily protocols, can be linked to side effects few people expect, including increased anxiety in more sensitive individuals. What can happen is that too much vitamin D can raise calcium levels in the blood, a condition called hypercalcemia. When calcium is too high, it directly affects your nervous system. You might start feeling increased irritability, anxiety, mental confusion, and even symptoms resembling panic attacks. Many people start taking vitamin D to support their mood and end up feeling worse than before without knowing why. A doctor might say vitamin D helps with mood, but doesn't always mention that high doses can have the opposite effect in more sensitive bodies.
Additionally, vitamin D interacts with magnesium metabolism, a mineral essential for muscle relaxation and nervous system regulation. When you take high doses of vitamin D without adequate magnesium levels from diet or guided supplementation, an imbalance can occur, showing up as anxiety, muscle tension, cramps, and that hard-to-explain restlessness. It's like trying to solve one problem and accidentally creating another. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not suggesting you stop taking vitamin B12 or vitamin D. These vitamins are important, especially in older age. What I'm saying is that there's a smarter, more personalized way to take them under your doctor's guidance, so you don't harm your mental peace. For vitamin B12, one strategy some professionals use is adjusting the dose and timing. Instead of very high single doses, focus on smaller amounts, possibly spaced out more, and avoid taking it late in the day since it can interfere with sleep. And poor sleep tends to worsen anxiety. Many people report better tolerance when taking it in the morning with breakfast, giving their body the whole day to use that extra energy, always confirming with their doctor. For vitamin D, the key in many cases is avoiding continuous megadoses when they're not strictly necessary, and opting instead for gentler, consistent supplementation, determined by your doctor based on lab tests and clinical condition. Instead of, for example, long-term weekly protocols of 50,000 IUs, some specialists prefer moderate daily doses, keeping blood levels stable and reducing spikes that could be linked to anxiety. And very importantly, discuss magnesium intake with your doctor, whether through diet or, when needed, supplementation. Common examples in clinical practice include 300 to 400 milligrams per day of magnesium, such as glycinate or malate, but this decision must be personalized by a healthcare professional. Another important thing you need to know is about the timing of lab tests. Often your doctor orders tests for B12 and vitamin D, sees they're low, and prescribes higher doses to quickly normalize levels. But correcting too fast can cause discomfort in some people. In many cases, it's better to correct gradually, giving your body time to adapt, especially if you already have a tendency toward anxiety or are going through a period of higher stress. There's also a less discussed issue about interactions with medications many older adults take. If you're on medication for high blood pressure, heart conditions, diabetes, or anti-anxiety drugs, vitamin B12 and vitamin D might interact. B12 can affect the absorption of certain medications, changing how side effects are perceived. Vitamin D can interfere with cardiovascular drugs and calcium metabolism. That's why medical supervision is essential, and you must inform your doctor about all supplements you're taking. A practical strategy is doing a sensitivity test with supervision. Before starting any supplementation, especially if you already have anxiety, begin with lower doses and observe. For example, some doctors suggest starting with low-dose B12, like 250 micrograms per day, and around 1,000 IUs per day of vitamin D for 2 weeks, monitoring sleep, anxiety levels, and energy. If everything goes well, your doctor can adjust gradually. If anxiety, agitation, or insomnia worsens, you can reassess the dose and timing with your healthcare provider. It's also crucial to understand the differences between supplement types. Vitamin B12 comes as cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin, or adenosylcobalamin. Some people report methylcobalamin feels more stimulating, and cyanocobalamin may seem more gentle. This varies from person to person. Vitamin D comes as D2 or D3, and D3 is usually more potent, requiring closer attention to dosage, always guided by tests and a professional. A very common sign that these vitamins might be contributing to anxiety is when you initially feel great, more energetic and motivated, but after a few weeks, symptoms like difficulty relaxing, racing thoughts, a sense of something bad is about to happen, unexplained irritability, or persistent restlessness start appearing. If this happens after starting supplementation, it's worth observing and discussing with your doctor. What many people don't know is that certain nutrients can help balance possible stimulating effects. Magnesium, as I mentioned, is central. Some also discuss with their doctor the use of taurine, GABA, and vitamin B6 involved in serotonin production, always under professional guidance to evaluate suitability, dosage, and safety. There's an interesting strategy, cycling use, instead of maintaining the same routine indefinitely when clinically appropriate. For example, some people, under medical advice, take B12 3 times a week instead of daily, or schedule planned breaks. For vitamin D, some adjust intake based on season, higher in winter, lower in summer, considering skin synthesis from sunlight. This approach can help prevent saturation and reduce the risk of discomfort, always confirmed with your doctor. Another key point is supplement quality. Not all products are equal, and this matters. Low-quality supplements may contain additives, dyes, and preservatives that can trigger reactions, including anxiety, in sensitive individuals. Look for reputable brands with good manufacturing practices and fewer inactive ingredients. It might cost a bit more, but the difference in how you feel can be worth it. A valuable tip is keeping a supplement and symptom journal. Record daily what you took, the dose, time, and how you felt. Track sleep quality, anxiety levels, energy, and any physical symptoms. Within a few weeks, you'll start seeing patterns and better understand each supplement's impact. This journal is gold when discussing adjustments with your doctor. It's also important to remember that anxiety in older age is multifactorial. Hormonal changes, medications, health issues, losses, routine, all of these play a role. Adjusting supplementation is just one piece of the puzzle. When you identify and correct what's within your control, like how you supplement, you've already taken a big step toward improving your quality of life. A valid alternative to reduce the need for higher doses is focusing on diet. For B12, lean meats, fish, eggs, and dairy are excellent sources. For vitamin D, in addition to moderate sun exposure, include fatty fish, salmon, sardines, egg yolks, and certain mushrooms. You can't always correct deficiencies through food alone, especially in older age, but a diet rich in these nutrients can reduce the need for high doses. If you've made it this far and recognized yourself in anything I've said, know that you're not alone and that there is a solution. Many people spend years dealing with anxiety without realizing part of the problem could be linked to how they're supplementing. The first step is talking to your doctor about your symptoms and the possibility of adjusting the doses or types of supplements you're using. Don't stop anything on your own, but don't accept living with anxiety as if it's inevitable. The most important message is this: you have the right to feel good, calm, and at peace, no matter your age. Anxiety isn't an unavoidable consequence of aging, and there are smart ways to care for your health without sacrificing emotional well-being. Sometimes small adjustments in how you supplement can make a huge difference. If this content resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Here you'll find thoughtful, informative strategies like this one. Hit like if it helped you in any way, and let me know where you're watching from. You don't have to face this alone. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on the notification bell to catch the next ones. See you next time.